Hello and welcome to part 7 of my 9-part series on reclaiming purpose in our work. And now today we're going to be talking about how we can actually reclaim purpose. And it comes down to 4 things, right? So the first thing is we need to begin our days by managing our influences. Now, these are the things that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. It can be social media, it can be the news, it can be individuals that don't necessarily rub us the right way. But what we need to realize is that we must be managing our influences, or our influences will be managing us. For a lot of us, all it would take was a couple of small mishaps in the morning to destroy our day, right? Real quick question. Think about the last time you got into a disagreement with a loved one before work, and then think about how was the rest of your day. If you're anything like me, it got terrible. All of a sudden, people are cutting you off on the freeway. Somebody parked in my spot in the parking lot, and they're not assigned spots, but they know that I parked there, and they're doing it just to upset me. And then I get to my desk, and Susan's waiting there to show me pictures of her cat post-surgery. Small things at the beginning of our day have a huge ability to impact how we view everything else after that. We must be cognizant of the things that we're psychologically ingesting on a day-to-day basis. If we want to be at our best for ourselves and for our companies and clients and for our families, if we want to do that, we have to be managing our influences, or our influences will be managing us. Now, the next thing that we can do for reclaiming purpose is to direct our perceptions. What does that mean? Well, directing our perceptions is choosing how we approach every situation, every project, every problem, or even how we approach our coworkers. How we view the world is totally dependent on us. Now, there was a very sharp guy who surmised that it's not reality that shapes us, but the lens with which your brain views the world that shapes your reality, meaning that we get to choose what color lenses we approach every situation with. And every one of us is wearing our own lenses, and we get to ask ourselves, are our lenses making the world a darker place or making it a brighter place? We have so much more power as far as how we perceive the world than we ever realized. We need to understand that it's within our abilities to direct our perceptions, not be governed by our preconceptions. Now, the next piece, as far as reclaiming purpose, is we need to be embracing our challenges. Too often we get faced with these challenges and it becomes overwhelming. It can become burdensome, and it becomes this giant challenge and problem that we're having to face and having to deal with. And it overwhelms our nervous systems, our brains, and it affects how we show up to work. Now, we're to view these challenges not as roadblocks in the way. Perhaps these challenges are placed there to help us grow into the people that we need to be. Reminds me of a story. During the 90s, they developed something called the biodome. And what was fascinating about this is they brought in plants and animals, and they wanted to observe how they acted. And as the scientists were observing, they watched as the trees began to grow within this ecological utopia. And with the trees growing up, all of a sudden, before they reached maturity, they would fall over. And they couldn't figure out what was going on. Every single tree would start to grow, and before it became a mature tree, it would fall over, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. They went and did soil testing. Turns out the soil was perfect. They tested the water for pH levels, and the water was absolutely perfect for these trees. They looked at the trees themselves and noticed there's no diseases. They couldn't figure out what was going on. What did they leave out of the equation? And what the scientists realized is they had forgotten wind. What they didn't realize until then, because they thought that trees only grew their roots as a way to go get water and to get nutrients, but that's not it. It turns out that the way that their roots grow is as a tree begins to mature, the wind buffets the leaves and the branches of this tree. And as it buffets, the tree grows its roots deeper into the ground, building a wider and stronger foundation, so that as the tree grows into an adult tree, it has the foundation in place for that tree to be able to support itself. What if the challenges in our life are just like the wind? What if they're not there to prevent us from achieving our goals? What if that challenge, that wind, is there to help us grow our foundation stronger so that we can support the person that we're growing into? In other words, we have to be embracing our challenges. Now, the last one on here is that we need to be moving towards meaning. If we're going to reclaim purpose, if we're going to be able to have purpose in our work, we have to be moving towards meaning. And what does that mean? We have to get beyond what our role is and what somebody in our role does. We're very good about talking about that. We know what our role is. It's our title. It sits in our email signature. It's on your LinkedIn profile. That's what your role is. But on a Monday morning, that's not compelling to our deep human desire to know that our work matters. We're also very good about talking about what our role does. It's all those tasks, functions, responsibilities of our work. It's a list of KPIs, our to-dos that we have to do on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. Once again, that too falls short of compelling. What we need to improve is our ability to remember what doing a great job means to all those that depend on us. In other words, we need to be following the impact of our work. You work on a project, hand it off to somebody, and you go on to the next project. But if you were to take a moment and follow that project, follow the impact that that project has on the lives of the people that needed it and that will be utilizing it, it allows us to realize that we're doing much more important work than we realize. It's not just about the tasks we have to complete. It's about the impact that that work has on the lives of other people. And that's how you can reclaim purpose.